ceru kaineta palu pali necere muzepe necere barero nani fanu atu muculawe lo sire ani fanu anami nutana nalafai ukupai nalatana urau nalunau natana urau rauna rana panutu ceru alana bebe
oh ele oh ele oh ele oh ele oh ele ele oh solo kita mai agradecer Jesus dia to máximo na tinanelaran ia terus yang solo kita lawai Jesus syarat mahitan ya pitoman oh ele oh ele oh ele oh ele oh ele oh obrigado Jesus por Miami manalu ofua molaran anorinami ia terus yang solo klasoe ami oromi loriami bukaita karan oh ele oh ele oh ele oh Amiro bugirane mai tu Jesus taumatan malube ia terus larang sayoan sai bimba timoroan hamutuk semetim fali oh ele oh ele oh ele oh
no kokirirana Kavalia atane Kana ture Ture narusu taru Rusilipu natinu Watu hia moini na kole No kukirira na itu Malihatane tanah cure nuru sujaru
Tae masih muri shalom yang lalu. Ay la 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 lalu. Ay tae masih muri shalom yang lalu. Mateo narai takkan dirula leona inalu. Ay la 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 inalu. Ay Mateo narai takkan dirula leona inalu.
You all can sing with us. That's the words. It's Timor how adomio, means that Timor, I love you. Timor how adomio, adomi domi domi, how adomio, adomi domi domi, how adomio.
Teki Toki Tomak was a piece that Martin Wesley Smith wrote in 2002. He wrote it as a response to the first 2 trips that we had there with his brother Rob initially, and then with our families. And it was a wonderful time, and he included a lot of the Timorese folk tunes that, such as Kolele Mai and Foho Ramalau, that he used in so much of his music prior to that. And he wrote this piece as a, well, goodbye, good luck. I've done all that I can to help. And he'd been writing music about the situation in Timor since 1975. And his body of work on the music of, musical activism, he was quite happy to be called a musical activist, was phenomenal, both in songs, multimedia pieces such as this one, and so this is just a joy. This, unlike so many of his pieces that were very confronting pieces of music and meant to be, so that the governments around the world would and people around the world will be shocked and go and talk to their governments and try and say, you've got to go in there and do something before everyone is killed in Timor. And this piece, on the other hand, is a very joyous piece. It was written in the year that when we first went there, we were following around Janana Guzmau's presidential campaign for the very first elections that the Timorese voted in. So it's a very uplifting piece, and I hope you enjoy it.
Out into the warm night air and touch it. Greg Shackleton at an unnamed village, which we'll remember forever in Portuguese Timor.
The Japanese that came on the 7th of December came from the sky, from the sea, in tanks, in planes, so many miles away. The sky was black like a big umbrella from the parachutes. You couldn't see anything else. More and more. Thousands and thousands. On the 8th of December, just a few hours before its flight, then we heard the shooting. Just one. Children crying, dogs barking.
Timorese people to violence has been beauty and grace. perpetrators, the Indonesians, have been found not guilty. I mean, they couldn't possibly be found guilty. They're over in West Papua now doing what they did in Timor. I mean, they wouldn't have time to go to jail. do well to look at how the Timorese have coped with living alongside terrorists in uniform for 25 years. obviously.
Maulelo and Muilelo is a Mambai ritual, and it's from a very long time ago, and it's done in other parts of Timor, but it's largely in the central mountain regions of the Mambai people, the Mambai that stretched through this book that was Hatabiliko. They do a different kind of ritual on the same story in Ainaro, in Amera, and all the way through. And people say, oh, our story's a bit different to that one. But I was told about this story many years ago when I used to go around recording the music usually with members of CAMS, which is the Centro Audiovisual that Max started, always with members from there and from Arte Moros. So it was a great teamwork because they were all locals from those areas. So, and when we'd been doing 3 days of recording traditional dances in a little village called Mula, which is on the opposite side of Hatabiliko, the older Alfonso said, oh, we have another ritual that we would like to record, but you have to do it at night. And so you can come back. So we did 7 years later. And he remembered, and he said they would do it, but they would need at least 12 months, and they had to do it in June. And so luckily we had a wonderful friend who also spent a lot of time in Timor, Gail Clifford, who was our go-between, and some of the requests were just brilliant. And she said, this is what they need. They need this much money because they have to build houses that are going to be burnt down in the processes of the ritual. And at the end she said, and Alfonso wants 3 big bottles of Johnny Walker Red. I said, what's wrong with your supper? So that was really quite funny. He's quite a character, actually. So a lot of the people from CAMS came, from Arte Moros, Lizzie Adams, who actually was the editor and put the film, the documentary style film together. You can actually see the full performance of it on YouTube, of it without any interference. But this documentary was basically trying to explain the ritual in terms of the importance to the Timorese of the world of darkness and the world of light and luli. So it was important to do, we thought, so the documentary itself. But I'd like to share a few things, and I do think it's quite good if people want to share a few things about Max, because this night is about Max. We were going up there, and Max was always optimistic, to say the least. So he had some friends who are lovely people that we got to know, who were a Portuguese couple with 2 small children around the same age as their small children. And they decided that they were coming up too, and they were going to go horse riding the day before we were to start doing this in Malbisi. They told Joanna and Joe that they could easily, well, not they, Max told them that they would easily be able to take their little, I think they had something like a Honda Jazz. So anybody that knows Timor knows that's just ridiculous, especially going to Hatabiliko, which is that road can be atrocious. And it was June, and even though it was June, it was supposed to be the dry season. It was pouring with rain all the way up there. And it was debatable whether we were actually going to be able to do this filming. Now, this little Honda Jazz, they didn't arrive, and at about 9 o'clock at night we said, are you coming up to do this, because we're doing it tomorrow morning? Yes, we'll be there. And you could hear very stressed out Ingrid in the back saying, Ros, Max told Joanna that they could bring their Honda Jazz up here with their kids. I said, are you serious? much every single pothole, Max and the guy would get up, and lucky it was a little car, and lift it up over these potholes all the way down. They got to the top of the valley and decided that was it. The women had decided absolutely no more. These kids have been in the car from Malbisi to this point for hours, like about 8 hours. It's not very far. And they got down there, and none of us really comprehended what kind of a car it was up there. But I went and got them in this big Toyota Land Cruiser, which was a much more sensible vehicle with a couple of other people. And then we saw it. I said, "Are you kidding me? You told them they could bring this to Hatabiliko." And we had a couple of friends that were from Johan York from Livi Bulak and a couple of other people that just wanted to see this ritual because they knew it was a fairly rare event. And this couple stressing about he had to work 3 days later in Dili, and how were they going to get back? And I said, well, I don't know if any of you know Alexander's place in Hatabiliko, but this guy he keeps extending this building like it's, adds another room, and he actually built over the road it looks like a bridge, but it's more of the hotel. And we were talking, and I said, what they need, something like that. It was one of those great big red yellow trucks that are in Timor. I'd put it in that and just take that back to Dili, which is what they did in the end. But look, it was just so typical of Max to say, yeah, you can do that, because for years and years he drove this Tata all over Timor, those old Indian Tatas. And this thing, I mean, it clapped out all the time, It's amazing that, and he'd take it in the most insane places. And he had great faith in, it will be all right, it'll go, give it a boot. All the oil will dislodge in the tanks. But, so that was just one of many stories. Anyway, here is Maulelo Builelo, which was a combined effort by an awful lot of people, including what was then Leichhardt Council, who supplied some of the funds to actually do this film, probably one of the bottles of Johnny Walker Red. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope it gives you a little insight into the lulic nature of Timor, which is the central core of the whole society.
Hobilelo ni hanya sa keto honan. Nya makhuri salapa malu makhuri. Nya bakhuri saipa naromani. Molelo hobilelo ni hanya sa si ihana kukularan. Tambah kalau molelo mate makhuri saiba naromani. La kalau molelo la mate karik ni la saiba naromani ba. Mang fetan sir hamu tiki blito blelo mang hareba fetan tiak mang kontra fetan baharisia so lori fuko fasia raida na peto hatmer akor bal bilel fukla hane saifusi rabeto hatmer totas depois don tas klar ne ban don tasi ino an mane hamre boxal bilelo boxal kairona bilel fukla hane udi hamu tiki to ne to peto hatmer mai to no bilel mai hetan bilel tafel mai mol hamre mol kontra ne fetan bilelo absal
I first met Alfonso in 2007 when I went to Hatabiliko, and we were looking for villages where they still played traditional music and setting up for performances of that music. And after we had done extensive recordings of music in Mulo, we sat down with Alfonso and he started to tell us about another performance that hadn't been done for a very long time. It was a war, ostensibly between a king and a queen. And then as he told us more about it, it changed from king and queen to light and darkness, good and evil.
ba memoris ia nakukunielar. Ya nakukunielar ia tempo nakukunielar nene la ia moral, la ia regulamento memoris hanesang animal fui. Antes religião católica tama mai Timor ia tiana sistema fierida. Neve sira bolunaran lulit.
Lulik is very complex. It is actually the core of the whole society. It's what governs that society, its beliefs, its laws, and its rules and regulations.
Sistema fierida ne hareba aspecto engrua, ida mak feminino, ida mak masculino. Ida feminino ninian sira hareba konaba representa ideias dame, hakmatek, no prosperidade, incluímos fertilidade. Ida masculino niang representa ideia segurança, proteção, não temos força. Aspecto masculino no feminino sira rua tem que lá hamutuk, sira complementa malo. Neduni exemplo hanesam feto homane sira tem que complementa malo, serviço hamutuk, laos feto mane det hanesam mau aling, inang amang, fetong honang. Neduni hanesam buat dualismo ida hanesam bot, kik, liur, larang idane sempre lau hamutuk ia sociedade Timor ne larang.
Tuir tradisaun ka kultura ema mambayan ninian di liu ia fatingi dan ninian na ema tean maulela hobulela ne maka ema nebe moris ulu liu bahira mundu ne hari quanto atu raine metin sala nebe maka ema halo ia mundu ne mai husi hun bahira quanto maulela sala babilelo Sirana em rua, desculpa mas rola malo e depois bilela né, tois em rua, cus neuan de narang apsa, né e depois neuan né quanto bot para down, né husuana baningina dian haunyama ni hanebe, depois ia né malo sira mais sira mutu com apsa e depois sira hamrei com maulela tamba neuan apsa né, hatene katak se maulela ho haunina bilela mesa antau hauiha antau sirana irone fetan honan hola malo antau tiane sala ida la losne la bele idene la bela contase
idene molo ne los fonohi idene molo ne deste uluk raine meti ya siap nakloke oh molela mo fin raine nakloke oh molela maka isinam kari odi hatene kata le odi fae molela ho tur ba fati hotu trai fukun hotu tau ba ukun hotu idi hon raine no ho rai be fo hoide honi nuku oh molela mo forma le sela oh molela le lai ukun lai pandu.
When we went back to film Malelo, we were given a performance of Malelo that was, in many respects, a little bit different to what I'd been told initially. It was much more detailed, and what became quite clear that this was a story that took the world from darkness to the time before Lulik to the world of light. It created the world of light and the world of Lulik, which is the world of regulations and rules.
Sira hahu sergala ne kata sira fohatene para sira ba fohatene ia ida nebe maka bot liu fohatene ne kata maulela hobilela ne sala Então, ida acompanha sira para o cercala, né? Ida ausane hamutu ko sira, força botida, e depois sira fateni heblehetu blelela, né? E depois ukun hobando, né? Mais se blehetu blelelo. Então, sira cercala, pato heblehetu blelelo, né? Para sira simo de tarzata, e depois sira saiba halo funo contra maulelo. Sira tesi maulelo ne ulu, sira lori mai apresenta. Sira lori mai apresenta una iha blehetu blelela.
Sira qualia conaba atu halo separação entre atu faz tempo entre tempo na cucu tempo ema se fui se dá o que regulamento o tempo nebe que ema nessa civilizadona sira mori sakmate sira regulamento ia buat sirne ritual ini au hare sira nessa celebra a separação entre tempo na cucu tempo na Roma.
Felix sirne be maka na hela biti hori hein be mane sirane sira sai bo homolelane sira lori mai Felix sira lo buah homalus e depois sira hu ahune kata molelane pirune mistion
thapui beidane hanesa niaba huri pa huri o khalohan thakami tentia huri khar molelane
sira halai ba maine ne hodi hakatli uma nebe maka sira sunu ne significa kata maulela uma nebe maka maulela helane ne folin lai hana
Tama-sama kane sambe ritual sira hanesa maulele builelo começa lá com daun kona. Idane tamba hanesa sambe conceito hanesa ema externa sira nebe que tama mai Timor barak makoko atu kualiat conceito no ritual no cultura Timor ninia sira koko atu tau prática cultural Timor ini ya paling inferior. Então, idane halo ema sinti ladun dia konaba kultura ritual sira nessa maulelo builelo. Então, dalam barak ema moe atau prática mai be idane hanesa propaganda atau kualiat atau estraga kultura lokal. Lolos prática sira hanesa ne Timor wan tengki halo bebek tambah idenemak sirene identidade idenemak sirene ang idenemak buat nembe ke sirene avo sira rahela basiri
hau hanesa joven hau alegria no contente tebes banhira conta história konaba builelo homolelo odinu ne bele fo hanoimba joven sira konaba história idanela bele atu para iha momento hansa sirane odinu ne itabele conta faleba itania baiwan sira katak deste ulukeran itania bon sira continua halo história konaba builelo homolelonia hakarak atu lembra ba joven Timor tomak ba povo Timor tomak katak laos builelo homolelo dek mai be ba kultura Timornian ita tem que ser a forte no a força hodne continua ba hia futuro.
It was really important to record this ritual performance of Maulelo Builelo. First of all, because when I had first come 7 years ago, the only people who knew how to do it were Alfonso and one other elder in the village of Mulo, in the Mambai region we were in. And through doing this recording, Alfonso has now taught many people, up to 100 people, how to do this story. And whilst the story might differ from ones they may have heard in the past, it's another version of the story. And it's an oral history that's now been captured in film for generations to come.
O significa o homolelo ne katak sala ne besira halo para itabele respeita malu tiun respeita bat sobrina respeita batian feton honanser ne bela respeita malu hodi ne maka sira hodi o homolelo e mate quanto se o homolelo ona na Roma ne baihana fatin e depois kalan na kukunga baihana fatin